Hi everybody, and welcome back to Benita at Spirit Kelowna. I'm here to do your October forecast. And as you know, I just love to work with the Publishing Goblin's Oracle dice and my mat here. It's interesting that the card, I was one of the early adopters of this, so I got this deck as well to go with it. And the card I pulled is the Alleyman card. You see it's quite beautiful. And the message with this is to learn to trust your inner wisdom. It's not about somebody else having the answers for you as much as it is for you learning to check within. Sometimes we get a little lazy and we just want somebody to tell us everything we need to know. That being said, that's kind of what I do, but I do it in a different way. When I'm working with you, I'm working to help you directly connect with your subconscious wisdom. So a lot of people will come to see me to say, I don't know, I feel lost. I don't know how to figure out how to find the answers within myself. So I will initially work with them and tune into their subconscious and give them the information that they need. For those people who choose to do ongoing work with me, I actually will help you to develop your own intuition and learn how to tune into your subconscious wisdom and your patterns and help them become more conscious. So it is something people can learn how to do if you take the lessons and apply yourself. And it's something I'm very happy to do with you. So today we're going to look at our October forecast. And hi, Karen. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for popping in. So yeah, we're going to start off with our beautiful die. So as you can see, that's what they look like in the container. I just love this set so much. Oh my God. I'm just going to pull out all the die and we're going to do our little drop and see what we get. So I have the first set they came out with, and then they got more artists involved, and they oh, thank you. Oh my God. Karen said you look beautiful. Thank you so much. I feel beautiful. I think marriage suits me very well. So some of you probably know, and I know, the folks who've tuned in so far know I got married a few weeks ago. So now I'm Benita Hudson. And yeah, just super, super happy to have found the love of my life. Hi, Maureen. I'm so glad you're here too. I just love it when you guys tune in and say hi. All right, so let's see what we're going to get here for October. Okay, ooh, we've had a number of them land in the core. This is going to be really interesting. So I've got my book here, and we're going to go through these one by one and see what our die are telling us. So remember that the overarching card is saying learn to listen to your inner wisdom, but we're going to see how we're guided toward that with these ones. So we do have the chaos die, which is always worth looking at first. And the face that is up, it looks like a cat. I don't know if you can see that. And that is showing up in here, so we're going to find out what the cat means. Some of this stuff is really new for me to work with too, so it's kind of actually, it's not a cat, it's a dumpster fire. Yes, you caught me live, Andy. Aw, thank you. You guys just make my day. You know what, Andy, today I'm not doing the mini readings right now. I think what I'm going to do, it just depends on how much light I'm going to have. I might come in later this evening, but I'm thinking what I might do is make time for that tomorrow. I'll post it on my Facebook as to what time I'm doing mini readings. Right now, I'm just doing the forecast for the month. I'm trying to catch up here. After the wedding, things kind of got a little hectic here, so I am catching up. I am going to do mini readings this month. So this is actually, I thought it looked like a cute little cat. It's a dumpster fire. So it says, when dumpsters are on fire, you know something apocalyptic is happening, or it's just a Tuesday. I love the way they write this book. Hard to say when the dumpster fire comes to play. So it says the die nearest this die shouldn't be touched or interacted with. It's burning. If you go near it, interact with it, try to change it, you'll get burned. You were warned. Here's the interesting thing. It's not sitting near any other die directly. And I'm just catch up what you guys are saying. I'll catch up with, on the comments in a second here. So it's not interacting with any of the other die directly. We will see what's near it. But because it fell under momentum, my sense of it is whatever craziness is going on in your life right now is going to be just fuel for the fire of what you're going to work on this month. It's just going to make you go, okay, fine, I have to deal with this. I can't not deal with it. So Barb says, styling glasses, beautiful. Married life looks good on you. Thank you. You know where I got my glasses? Tillman turned me on to a website called I Buy Direct, EYE, and it's all discontinued designer frames at really good prices. And I wear progressives, and they've all worked beautifully. And you can actually use a thing online where you go in and you try the glasses on, like on the website using, you know, yourself in real time. I'm so blind I have to take screenshots and then look at them afterwards to see what I look like. But I've got a whole bunch of new glasses because of that. So there you go. Andy says, okay, that works. October news is good too. Barb, I'd love to give you a card. Everybody wants a card. You're awesome. And it's I Buy Direct, B-U-Y Direct. If I can, I'll come back in tonight. I think I'm going to lose the light though. It'll be too dark for this. So if I don't do it this evening, if the light isn't there, I'll pop in tomorrow, and get you guys sorted for cards. Okay. And I'll let you know when I'm going to do it. Okay. So with the chaos die, it's everything going on this month is fueling it. That's right, Barb. Thank you for that. Okay, so we've got that first one going. So for our actions die, everything stayed on the mat today. So this is going to be a really deep reading. Let me see. Which one is that? They're all these different cool colors. So that one is, not the color I was expecting to see. Is that it there? Nope, that's not it. Sorry, this is taking me a moment. Oh, I found it. It is sitting under foundation and in the present. So it's something that builds on the present, and it's like a little figure here, sort of in a little swirly situation. So that one is transformation. Looks like October is going to be a really interesting month for a lot of people. It says it's something occurring within yourself. And remember how the card I pulled said this is all about doing tuning into your inner wisdom. And so it's basically giving yourself the space to go inward and recognize the changes that need to occur are internal. And it's saying that's in the present time. So whatever's been leading up till now, it's time to really go internal on this, okay? Our alchemist die is sitting right on the edge of fated and past. So think of it as one of the lessons you chose to learn coming into this lifetime. And that one is, oh, I missed a page here. Copper. It's considered a lightning rod. Gathers energy around it. So it gains power, it grows, it swells with potential. It can also attract dangerous energies. So it says copper may be asking you to look into what things in life fuel you or the people you've attracted. So remember how I was saying that the chaos dice is saying that, you know, something really difficult is fueling you. It may be also echoing your core patterns from when you first came into this life, that's what's being fueled right now. That's drawing from the past. It was something you agreed to coming to this life. You said, yes, I need to do this. These are the lessons I need to learn. I'm doing it. So that's where that's coming from. All right, and we get to the Allyman dice, and what we have is a big eye staring at us, and it is showing up under the future. And it's all about truth. So it's it says it asks you to see something just for what it is and stop placing unnecessary weight on things. So In other words, it's just, in other words, don't add pain to your pain. If something's coming up for you, hi Amanda, and happy birthday. Good to see you here. And so with the future, it's saying, you know, you're going to have that situation where you just have to look at what's actually going on, not color it with anything. You know, you think about how many times are we in a situation, oh, you know what, Amanda, right now I'm just doing the October forecast. I will do some mini readings either tonight if I have enough light to work with, or I'll come back in and do it. You're welcome. So in the future, the truth one, it's basically saying this is a situation where just don't add pain to your pain. Don't rationalize that you're okay with the situation. If it's something you need to change, you need to change it. And it's showing up right near the chaos die. So it's saying this is going to be a challenging situation that's going to fuel you to say, I've got to do something about this. Just don't tell yourself it's going to be okay when it might be something you really need to change. Okay, everybody's asking for cards. You guys are so sweet. I will do some mini card readings. If not tonight, tomorrow. I'll just have to see what the light is like, because this room doesn't have a lot of light in it without the light coming from the window. So we'll see where we're at. Oh, thank you, Amanda. You guys are so awesome. Okay, the attentions die. This is one of the new ones in this newer version of this set. So again, kudos to all the artists who put this together. It's pretty cool. And that one is a door opening. You can see that there. I think it's supposed to be like that, actually. Okay, and it's also showing up under the future. It's called Closet. It's the things in life you can't let anyone know about, but you also know someday has to come out and be known. Isn't this interesting? This is showing up in the future along with the truth one near the chaos one. So it's saying something is being dredged up in the near future. Situation you're going to have to face. You're going to have the truth about it. You're going to have to deal with things that you kind of pushed under the rug and not wanted to deal with. It's going to be in your face. It's time to deal with these things. Okay? The autumn die is... It is the skull. I kind of think this is funny because it's orange. We're getting close to Halloween. Oh, hi, Tammy. And we get this little cute orange skull showing up in our past. So we'll see what that one's all about. Passing. So it's the equivalent of the tarot death card. By the way, for those of you who don't realize it, oh, I'm glad to hear that, Christy. She says so pertinent to me. Hi, Dana. So the passing, the skull, it's basically the equivalent to the tarot death card. And a lot of people don't realize the death card rarely means death. It usually means the end of one cycle of your life and the beginning of another. The fact that it's showing up in the past, it's speaking to something ending, but knowing that from all ends come beginnings. So if you think of it as a situation where, you know, the cycle in your life right now, whatever's coming up for you right now began at the beginning of this cycle, and it's coming to a head for you in the near future. So a lot of times what I'll see is core patterns. It's like we come to the planet agreeing to work on certain things, and the universe puts in front of us the traumas, the opportunities to bring those things to the surface so we can work on them. A lot of times we're born to the people who agreed on soul level to create those challenges for us. And what happens is if we aren't conscious enough to face those traumas when we're young, and we often aren't, the universe will keep giving us opportunities that reflect those original traumas and trigger them to the surface, so we'll turn and face them. But quite often, we just don't have the capacity to understand, oh, this goes back to the original trauma, and it's those core patterns coming up, and now I need to work with them, bring them to the surface, and start to support those parts to become conscious and heal. By the way, as a psychic coach, that's my forte. If you don't know what core patterns are being triggered, and you don't know how to support them to come to consciousness, that's something I can help you with. I can tune in on that. I can say, these are your core patterns. This is what's been there since you were 3 years old. It's being triggered now. Here's how you can go inward, connect with that part of yourself, and support it to come to consciousness. So it now learns, I'm in an adult body. I have choices I didn't have back then. I can now use this energy that's stuck in shame and pain and grief and rage, and I can now use it in a happy, constructive way. So I've developed techniques over the last 40 years to do that work. So that's what I'm seeing here, is these core patterns that started either at the beginning of this life or the beginning of this particular cycle for you are coming full circle, coming to the surface to give you yet another opportunity to finally face them and work with them. Okay. We've dealt with the chaos die, so we're going to move past that. And if you're just tuning in now, I am going to be posting this video, so you will be able to watch it from the beginning and pick up on everything I'm saying. All right, the elements die is right smack in the middle of the core here. Aw, thank you, Andy. You guys are so sweet to me. So this one is Earth. So when it shows up in the core, it says this issue or situation has strong roots. This is exactly what I've been talking about, and is not easily overcome. Or you have steadiness in the situation. Never forget the leaves as being, and that's what this looks like. It looks like a leaf. As being in the core of a reading, the earth face may just be a reminder to sustain self-care, however that manifests for you. But it's very interesting. It's again pointing to something rooted, something in the core level. Deep core material is being dealt with this month. The Fates die. Okay. And what we have is the spade. It is showing up also in the past. It says exactly what you needed will be there in your hand when you need it. Take the risk you wanted to take. So in other words, it's saying this stuff that's coming up for you, that's core level, is ultimately going to benefit you. One of the biggest challenges that I found when I started on my spiritual journey was having faith that if I did the spiritual work, the universe would support that. And yet time and time again, it's proven to be so. Remember that we live in a quantum universe. Everything around us is a manifestation of our consciousness. So if we want change externally, we have to do the inner work the universe is calling us to do. And it will push us up against our patterns until we face them. Once we face them and move through them, on the other side is a shifted reality, one that's a reflection of the work we've done. So this is one of the things to remind yourself of, even if it's difficult right now, even if it's gritty, if you will do the work. And again, if you're not sure how to do it, contact me. I work by Zoom, I work in person, anywhere in the world. I can help you by directly tuning in on your patterns and saying, this is what's happening inside of you. This is what you can do about it. Get you on your way to creating those shifts that can change your life. So that's what that one is reassuring you of. If you will do that inner work, the universe can finally give you the things you haven't been able to get, because not doing the work blocks you from receiving the abundance the universe wants to provide you, whether that's in relationship, career, movement on your spiritual journey. All that movement can happen once whatever's stuck in you starts to move toward consciousness. Okay, the Goblins die. I'm a big fan of the Goblins die because it's super cute. Hi, Anya. I'm glad you're here. Aw, you guys are awesome. So what we have here is the cutest little goblin with a little moon next to him. I just adore that particular one. It's sitting in history. So we're going to see what that's about. And this one's called Obsession. Talks about an unabashed inability to escape a thought or concept. So here's how I see that. Because of where it's sitting in the spread, it's sitting in history. It's saying that this particular core pattern or patterns that you're dealing with in October, they're really sticky. It might be something that your whole life you've never been able to get movement on and maybe feel like you never will. I get it. I can identify. For most of my life, there was a certain stuckness for me around relationship because of childhood trauma, because of things that occurred. There was always a sense that I couldn't be fully present and flowing, and I had to do a lot of work on that. Once that shifted, I was able to meet my soulmate, marry him, and have a tremendously expanded life that literally shifted my reality in a matter of a few weeks. But there was a lot of deep internal work leading up to that. But there was a point where I really wondered, will this ever shift? Will I ever be able to quite figure this out? So everything I offer you, the tools I offer you, are tools I've used myself. And I continue to work on myself, because as soon as you arrive at one level of awareness, there's always more. And that's the beauty of it. It's the spiritual work. You're never going to get bored. So that's what it's saying is, take heart. That stuff that feels like it's just stuck and always will be can shift for you. Oh, thank you, Andy. She says, I love this so much for you. Life is just awesome. I'm pretty tickled. And for me, what's exciting about it is, because I've been working with so many people for so many years, is being able to see the deeper you go with this work, the more shifts can occur, and even the most stuck stuff can shift, which just encourages me in my work with other people to be able to say, however dark the tunnel is where you are, there is light on the other side. So keep going. I not only want to support people by giving them the information they need, but support them and encourage them. Keep doing the work. No matter how dark and gritty it seems, it's worth it. It really is. So now we're going to look at the influences die. And it's so funny, it's like Halloween is coming up. And, we got the little orange skull, and we got the little goblin, and now we get a little ghost. I'm just adoring this whole setup. And the ghost is sitting under fated. So basically he informs you that something is behind something else. Your relationship is haunted by the remains of the last one, or your job offer is haunted by someone else's intentions. It means that things are not always just what they seem, and that hidden interests are involved, or something from your past is hanging on beyond its time. There we go. So it's sitting under fated, and everything we've seen so far in this spread today is saying that really, really stuck pattern from the past is also keeping you from seeing what's possible in the present. And this is the time to turn and face that. Face it inwardly, have your inner wisdom come up to support you on this. If you don't know how to access it, I can help with that. But it's saying this is the time to realize that that pattern that's so sticky, that's echoing through this month, is keeping you from seeing things as they really are. And that's such an important thing, because a lot of times we make assumptions based on our filters. We have a situation occur and we decide it means this based on what our patterns say it means, when quite often, once you've done the work through the pattern, you will experience that situation very differently. And things that might have felt like a threat or a real problem, you might see in a completely different light. Now, the next die is one of my favorites. It's the kindness die. And we got a cute little balloon here. And the balloon, balloon. It looks like a balloon to me. It's a rubber ball. So yeah, it's got a little bouncy thing there to show that it's bouncing like that. There we go. So the rubber ball, it's basically points to the necessity of play in a situation, being open, fun, finding the joy in things. And again, it's sitting under foundation. So it's interesting too, because it's really close to the dice that says you're going to get what you need to do this work. So under foundation, it's saying, don't take it all too seriously. We have many human experiences. We jump into human form to have certain experiences. We jump out again. We're eternal beings participating in a play. So It's saying be light about this. Have a sense of humor about your plight as a human. And Christy says, I hear my inner wisdom, but don't listen to it. LOL. Can you help with that? Yeah, I can. So this is the funny thing. We're all psychic. It's just most people don't want to listen to their intuition because it's going to tell them to do things that are really, really uncomfortable. Remember that your subconscious patterns, your ego, is designed to keep everything the same. So even if it's a hard situation, the ego goes, this is prison, but at least I know this prison. And it doesn't want to step outside of it. So this work isn't easy to do. I often say to my clients, I have such respect for people who come to work with me because it takes courage to look at your own stuff. But, you either choose to do the work, or many people just lead lives of quiet desperation because they avoid the pain and the difficulty of doing this inner work. But then they never get to the life they might have had. And what a shame it would be to finish up this life and look back and go, all those opportunities I missed, and now I've got to come back and do it again in some other guise because I didn't do it when the opportunities arose. And the universe just keeps giving us opportunities. It's up to us what we do with them. So never beat yourself up for not listening. Just do your best to listen the next time. And the cool thing is, the more you listen, the more your intuition will talk to you because it'll go, cool, you're listening. Here's some more information. And Andy says, relatable, Christy. I love that. And yeah, it's true for all of us. Hindsight's 20/20. We all have times we go, I really should listen to my intuition. We all do it. Okay. The longings die. Okay. So let's see what that one is showing up as. Oh, again, Halloween. What do we get? Somebody wearing a mask. This is so funny. It is showing up just on the edge of past going into present. And so it's speaking to the necessity of masking your actions, behavior, or identity, hiding your orientation at work, for example, to avoid nonsense, hiding your true feelings for another to avoid awkwardness. It's rarely done for cruel or manipulative reasons. It's most often done to keep yourself safe, mostly. So in other words, it's saying that the situation from the past, you probably haven't talked to a lot of people about it. You might not be around people you feel comfortable discussing this with. And just so you know, I've been doing this work for over 40 years. There's literally nothing you can tell me I haven't heard before. So no judgment. I'm just here to lovingly, compassionately support you on your journey. I've worked with people of every kind of lifestyle and inclination and, challenges from the past. Here's how I look at it. Everything you've been through, everything you've done is part of the journey that's led you to who you are now. Had you not had those experiences, you wouldn't have learned the things you've learned. So we can either beat ourselves up for our failings from the past, or we can say, with gratitude, because I did that, I learned this, which I can now apply going forward. So what I'm here to do is empower you to embrace all of who you are, every experience you've had, so you can use all of those experiences to become the person you came here to be. Okay, next dice. A little bit of water for me first. The Major's die. This is always a really interesting one. Today it sits in the present, and as you can see, this is considered the binary thing. And what I love is this whole set was created by somebody who's non-binary. So non-binary is the term I actually meant. But it says binary, but it's basically binary, non-binary. It's like wherever you're coming from. So it says it's binary is an important part of life. It has two main functions as a die face. On one hand, it speaks to the mistaken idea that things are either true or false, successful or failures. It's recognizing situations that are truly binary or that might as well be. So in other words, it's saying, sitting in the present, don't get too caught up in judgment about the situation you're working through. A lot of times when we beat ourselves up, I should know better, I should have figured this out by now, we're actually pushing down inside of us the parts of us that are trying to build up the energy to come to the surface and become conscious. So when we go, I should know better, we're telling those parts of us that aren't conscious yet, you should know better. And they don't. They're not conscious. So if we can instead lovingly create space for them to come up and support them to become conscious, they will eventually find ways to integrate with the conscious self and support our decision making in ways that are really functional for us. But if at first we're starting off with, you should have known better, those parts will just go back down under the surface, and they'll have to build up the energy and the trust in us to take another chance to reveal themselves to us. I know I'm going really deep today, but it sounds like there's some really deep work happening this month for everybody. And again, if you're just tuning in now, I will be posting this. You'll be able to catch it from the beginning. We are looking now at the Mariner's die, and we have a little anchor, and it is showing up in the future. And it's saying it offers stability, weight, and respite from a long journey in the real world. And so what I love about where it's showing up here is the other ones that showed up in the future were the closet, saying things are going to come to the surface you've probably buried. The truth, saying things that you wanted to see some other way. You're going to have to look at the truth of it. But the anchor says this will eventually give you respite. You'll be like, oh God, that's finally up at the surface. It's seen now, it's understood, perhaps by somebody important in your life that you thought would judge you and didn't. Or maybe it's something you finally talk to a counselor or a coach about and find out you're not judged. And maybe you stop judging yourself as a result. And all that self-deprecation is now, that energy is released to be used in a really joyful and constructive way. We're so hard on ourselves. So it just shows the stuff that's coming up, if you'll work with it, is actually going to leave you in a much more solid footing in the end than if you didn't do this work at all. So I'm excited about that. The Metamorphosis die is showing up under Fated, and this one's kind of hard to see, but it's a little chrysalis. I don't know if you can make that out. So it's showing up under Fated, and it says it's the moment when no one can see what you're doing, but you know that you're hard at work on yourself. So it's showing up under Fated to say this month is the time to do this deep inner work. The universe is giving you an opportunity to do it. Don't waste the opportunity. Go for it, okay? Get excited about the idea that something that's been weighing on you, that's made you feel stuck your whole life, it's finally time for it to come to the surface and be supported and worked on so that energy can be transformed so your life can expand in some beautiful ways. So this is a good thing. Okay, the Obstacles die. Oh, goodness. And that one is a beautiful rose. There you go. And it's showing up in the past. And it's peace. And so it says, peace is a tricky obstacle. Sometimes we get just what we want. We stem the tide of opposition. We stop the conflict and we get peace. Then what? Sometimes the hardest part is no longer having a clear foe. So here's what I take from that. It's saying this stuff you've been dealing with your whole life, there's never been a foe. Even the people who play the role of our petty tyrants in our life, the people who bring us the trauma, at soul level, we agreed to that. We said, okay, you play that role, so this stuff comes up for me, so I can see it and work on it in this lifetime. I was born with past life recall. I can recall half a dozen past lives where I was working on the patterns I'm working on in this lifetime. And I remember different people in my life playing different roles in those lifetimes, which gives me a broader perspective. So instead of seeing somebody as the enemy because of the way they treated me in this lifetime, I see that on soul level, they did something very loving and very brave. They're willing to have me be angry at them because they're playing a role that was hurtful to me, but it was bringing to the surface these patterns that I've run for lifetimes so I could finally see them and work on them. And how freeing it is to, it doesn't mean we don't honor the parts of us that were hurt by those experiences, but also to have some appreciation for the role that person played in triggering stuff so we could grow. Trauma only remains a problem if we don't grow from it. If we do grow from it, I believe we end up so much richer for the work we've done than if we never had that work to do in the first place. To me, that's the positive side of trauma is if you choose to work with it, if you choose to grow, who you become is such a powerful individual. And whatever you've gone through, should you choose to, can be your training for how you support other people. That way, nothing you've been through is wasted, whether you work professionally to do so or, you meet somebody on your path who's gone through the same thing and you're like, I've been there. I know what that's like. It's okay. You'll make it through. May I make some suggestions? Because of the wisdom you've accumulated from your experiences. All right. And we are getting to the relations die, which is just sitting on the edge of within. So again, internal work and the present. And what we have are these two little figures. See them right there. And the one seems to be putting up its hand to the other. And it's called rejection. So it speaks to the need to work through the feelings of rejection. So again, what we're coming to here is the idea that this is internal work. We either say to other people, can you stop doing that thing so I don't have to feel this? Or we can go, wow, because they said or did this, it triggered this for me, and now I get to work with that. So when we stop looking on it as that person rejected me and therefore they're the problem and they need to fix that, and instead we look at, well, what was my response? Why did I respond that way? Why did I interpret it that way? What do I need to learn? How can I grow? It's going to change how we interact with people. For example, when I was 2 years old, I had to go live next door. I had German measles. My mother was pregnant, so I couldn't live at home in case my mother got German measles, in which case she could have had a deformed baby. What 2-year-old understands that? I'm living next door. All I could do is wave at my family through the picture window. And of course, by the time I went home, not long after, my brother shows up. I only figured that out many years later when I was at a silent yoga retreat and I couldn't join everybody in the yoga class because I'd sprained my ankle the day before the retreat. And I'm sitting there meditating and feeling all this resentment come up, and I didn't reject the resentment. I allowed it to come up, I processed it, and then I discovered underneath it the memories of that 2-year-old. And I was able to work with her and say, your family didn't reject you. It was circumstance that you couldn't be there. This group I'm with aren't rejecting me. It's circumstance that I can't join them. And that part of me finally healed. So life is going to give you these opportunities to be triggered and go backward in time and go to the original trigger and work with that part of yourself. That's a pretty beautiful thing. It's a very efficient use of the universe. The spring die also shows up in the core. And this one is a little bitty tree. And it's a seed. It's a seed that has sprouted. So to me, it looks like a little tree. But it says, it speaks to the reading focusing on this new thing, be it a project, relationship, job, or otherwise. So in other words, it's saying, if you do this work, and it's what I've been talking about through the whole reading, life will expand. There will be growth. So this is very much a really meaty reading in terms of your inner growth and the promise of something more to come should you choose to do the work. And then we have the suits die, and that is, where is that one? Oh, right there, another eye. But this one's showing up in the past. And it is null. It's the empty space between the suits, the thing that says this reading means what it means. There's no hidden context. it's, so to me, what it's saying, because it's sitting in the past, it's saying, you know, you can add a lot to this. You can add pain to your pain by reading a lot more into your situation than there is. Or you can just say, I chose this experience. I choose to grow from this experience. I choose to gain from this experience by taking my life forward in a new and expansive way because I've done the work. And then I might serve because of the experience by being there for other people, should you choose to do so. It's not everybody's path, but sometimes it is. So that's what I'm getting from that. Let's see what else we have here. The summer die. And the summer die is also in the core, and it's a little fist. And this one is the heat of the fight. Something, it says the fist is that. It's the time to fight injustice, to fight hatred, to fight out battles and struggles. Most of all, just to fight. So it can be a literal physical fight, but it's often about struggling against depression. And so basically what it's saying here is this is an energy of, I would say the way it's coming through in this reading is there's going to be some struggle with this work. There's going to be times you just want to give up on it because it seems too hard to do. I'd say probably a good 90% of the people who come to me, when I say, what brought you to my door, they'll say, I'm lost. I just don't know who I am or where I'm going or what to do next. And from that lostness, which is actually a good place to be in the sense that you've let go of who you think you should be or do or what have you. Now you're open to new possibilities, but it doesn't feel like that. It can feel really hard to not have the answers. So this is saying there's going to be some turmoil. There's going to be some energy coming up with this deep internal work. Don't let that defeat you. Don't let your ego say, this is too hard, quit. Because at some point, the universe is just going to put another opportunity in front of you to do this work. And you're going to need to finally address it. So do your best not to let yourself feel defeated with the challenges of this month. This is a rich opportunity to dig deep, transform some deep core patterns that have felt stuck your whole life. This is the month to get going on this. As we've seen from some of the other die, there are benefits to doing this. Life can expand, beauty can occur if we do this work. Okay. The winter's die. And for anybody just popping in, I will be posting this so you can catch the whole forecast. And I will be coming back, if not tonight, then tomorrow, to do some mini readings for you guys as well. All right. The winter die is sitting way out under inevitable. And what we have is a little mirror. So the mirror is an important stopping point in the mental process. Too often it's simple to write things off, but what happens when we don't? When we take time to consider the ramifications of not only what we say, but why we say it. So here's what I'm getting from that one. It's saying exactly what I just said. What happens if you don't do this work? You're just going to have to do it later. What happens if you do the work? You get to move on to that beautiful expanded life sooner. You know, and oh, I love that. Alex says, I'm ready to do the work. That's fantastic. I love it. You know, I look at the fact that it took me 60 years to do enough work to be with my soulmate and to have the kind of life that we're creating together. I'm hoping that in what I can offer you, it won't take you so long. So, you know, when the opportunities present themselves, do your best to jump on them. If I can help you through them, I'm happy to, but don't miss the opportunities. It just prolongs the wait for you to finally move on with the things that are important for you, the things your soul came here to do. So let's do it. Okay, the wounds die. Also in the core is this little figure with an arrow through its head. That's kind of interesting. It calls out something that is stuck under the skin, a pain, a wound that resides beneath the entirety of the situation at hand. So when it sits at the core, it's often read in shadow. It's either so central, the whole situation revolves around it, or it's so central because it's inescapable. It's a massive hurt that affects the entire rest of the reading and beyond. And this is just tying together everything I've been saying with this. This is a powerful core pattern that has influenced your whole life, feels stuck, feels like something you can't move through. So I want you to think of it this way. Your shadow contains the power to transform your life. When that energy is allowed to come to the surface and allowed to become conscious, the changes it can create in your life are beyond anything you can imagine for yourself where you're at right now. If somebody had told me last fall, before I finally peeled off the next layer of this pattern and really got down to the grittiness of it, I sat and churned for weeks on this pattern I was dealing with. If had anybody told me how much my life was going to transform within that 2-week period, I couldn't have imagined it. And I've been doing this work for my whole life. So just remember that as hard and gritty as this work seems, when that opens up, that's incredibly powerful. That's treasure. That's the stuff that can make a massive difference in how you live your life. It's worth plumbing those depths to get to that treasure. And Christy says, I found my soulmate, but I'm afraid I will screw it up. Then come see me. Let's work on those core patterns. Just so everybody understands, one of my fortes is working with relationships. I tune in on the energy of the relationship. I tune in on the core patterns that are involved. And what I do is I help you understand what complementary patterns drew you to each other in the first place. And when I work with couples, I'll help them understand, the patterns they trigger in each other. So you can understand how you trigger the other person and how you can support them when they're triggered, and how they trigger you and how you can work on the stuff that's coming up for you. Because ultimately, nobody can do our work for us. We have to do it ourselves. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do to look at those patterns and help you to become conscious enough to become the best partner you can be, to understand your partner more deeply. I often will work with both people if both are comfortable doing that with me. But it's realizing that the work doesn't stop once you meet your soulmate. It's just a new layer of the work, and you get to do it with somebody. And that's how that goes. You're welcome, Christy. So folks, I'm going to break for dinner. So this is going to be quite an exciting month. A lot of deep work. Trust me, it's worth it. And if I can help you, I'd be happy to. I may not pop in again this evening to do mini readings because I think I'm going to lose the light, but I will post on my Facebook profile and page when I'm doing the mini readings so that you guys can come in and I'll pull a card for you. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are awesome. I love you all. Mwah. And I will see you very shortly. Bye for now.